All right, welcome everybody. Looks like we got a few people joining the room. Thanks for joining us today, and thanks for those that tune in and watch this later as well. So again, we appreciate the support. We started this, I guess, the live Q&A a couple months ago, and we just we found it super beneficial for people just to stay connected during this time and bring on guests across the nation here just to talk about recovery and just to have conversation and dialogue about what's important right now for people, and how people can start utilizing supports of others during this time. So we appreciate everyone that's joining in live right now. So today's guest, we have Montee Ball joining us. So he's actually one of our past speakers of the recovery rally, which was last year. So we're glad to have Montee. For those of you that don't know who Montee Ball is, so he is the former running back of the Denver Broncos. He is also an alumni of the Wisconsin Badgers, of course, my favorite football team, college football team. So we appreciate you, Montee, for coming on. I know we have a lot of awesome and amazing topics that we're going to talk about, specific towards how you're doing during this time and the things that you're doing during this time as well. So yeah, welcome, Montee. We appreciate it. If you could, for those that do have questions, please put them in the chat below. We will have a time at the end here for you guys to ask Montee any questions that come about. So just hold all questions to the end if you have something that you want to say. So with that, we're going to get to it. So welcome, Montee. If you want to, just give us a background of how your story, transformed from not only, the local, but national, as a local and a national college and NFL player. And just, speaking openly about, possibly some of the struggles that you went through and how recovery has now changed your life.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. Thank you guys for having me. This is remarkable, and I'm most definitely excited to be a guest because I think this is very important, especially during this time for those in recovery. So I'm looking forward to getting to that point. But for now, gosh, where to begin? My story is pretty public. I've been very, very honest with my story. One of depression, anxiety, severe depression. I want to say, and alcoholism, of course. Being 4 years, going on 4 years of being sober now. But it started, obviously wanting to play football at the age of 8. I wanted to play for the greatest NFL team ever, that being the Denver Broncos, not the Packers, which I see back there. But my dream was always to play there. So I worked my butt off from the age of 8 with my father, all the way up until high school, when my father was no longer my head coach, obviously because the school there had a head coach. But my father was still really heavily involved in what I'm doing off the field, my grades, in the classroom, etc. So there was a lot of pressure, a lot of pressure on me, throughout my life. And then, we've always agreed for my family to move with me to wherever college I went to. My parents and both of my sisters live here in Wisconsin, and we're from a small town right outside St. Louis, Missouri. But that was a great thing, having my family, right, in the backyard of the campus. But it also had a lot of pressure as well. My family quitting their jobs in Missouri and moving and getting jobs here in Wisconsin and just relocating their entire lives seemed like it added a lot of pressure to my life, to where it felt like I had to then perform and I had to do well, or else they made that move for no reason. So that pressure really started to build up when I was in college, and I started to self-medicate with alcohol. It's kind of it's pretty heavy in my family, alcoholism. My father is a proud recovering alcoholic, and so for myself, I really started to drink heavily in college. I started to really drown out my depression, my anxiety, I really didn't understand how to sit with some of the feelings that I had, that being the societal pressures of being a college athlete. So I started to really, really drink, struggle with social anxiety. So it was one of those things where I wish I would have just talked to someone early on, hindsight being 2020, because I believe I would not have been put in this situation, or I would have not have done the things that I've done. But fast forward to the NFL, I kind of spiraled out of control because I didn't address any of my situations or any of the mental health issues that I was dealing with in college. And playing on a bigger stage, playing where there's more pressures, more societal pressures, more where you're kind of treated like a commodity, really didn't sit well with me. And the alcohol was just right there next to me, and I that's what I chose to do. That's what I chose to help myself get through some of the times. But that obviously came to kick me in the butt because I spiraled out of control. I poured all of my insecurities out onto someone who most definitely didn't deserve it, and found myself in jail watching my favorite team who I idolized growing up playing for. They just released me, and I just watched them win the Super Bowl while I was sitting in jail. I remember sitting in jail, and 4 of the other inmates turned around and they said, that's supposed to be you up there. You're supposed to be an idol to us, but you're in here with us. What are you doing? We're supposed to be looking up to you. And that really stuck with me. That really hit hard. Kind of something I'm going to take to my grave, which I needed to hear it. Was definitely needed to hear that to kind of snap me out of, whatever depression-like state I was in. But yeah, fast forward to going through therapy, facing the music, that being, I went to, after I completed an X amount of hours of therapy, I actually went to a domestic abuse intervention where I sat and listened to a woman speak about being a survivor. Now this was in Madison, Wisconsin. I'm wearing a name tag on my chest walking in, so I was sweating bullets. And it was kind of part of my therapy process. I wanted to do it because I wanted to understand. And so it's just been one heck of a journey, one that I'm actually grateful for, because I believe without it, I wouldn't be where I'm at today, which is, I'll be 4 years sober August 1st. And it's one journey that I want my son to be proud of. I want for my son to understand that, you'll trip, you'll stumble, you'll fall, you'll hit your rock bottom, but you don't have to stay there. And it's really something I'm extremely passionate about, because I could have given up. I still face it today, where some people judge me for my past mistakes, and I'm okay with that, because I do understand that people don't have to like me. You don't have to forgive me, but at least just understand. So I'm excited. I don't want to get too negative Nancy, whatever here, but it's, I love the journey, and I'm very, very excited to be where I'm at today.
Yeah, and I remember during the rally last year hearing your story, and I know that we could, you could get into more in depth of your story of the past and things that have happened in not only your personal life but your career. But listening to your story that day, and I'm sure some individuals afterwards may have approached you and talked to you about it too, but I know within your story you do mention the I guess your life in comparison to the metamorphosis of the caterpillar.
Yes.
and the butterfly, and that's to me that it's such a, I've never really heard it explained that way as far as the recovery process and somebody explaining it that way. So of course hearing it that day, and I'm not sure if you saw it during you speaking, but all of a sudden there was butterflies everywhere.
I heard.
And that's one thing, you're sharing the story, and then as you started talking about it, there's butterflies flying around you, and I'm just like, that really spoke to me. Like, wow, this story, this message that he's bringing to individuals. Unless you planned that, unless you had somebody release butterflies, no. But I just thought that was such an awesome. Yeah, that was such an awesome, I guess, timing of that to happen. So why don't you, explain a little bit about how life has been now for you and even since the rally? What are some things you're doing, some of the positives in life that your recovery journey has now, kind of transformed into the things you're doing now?
Yeah, this is where it gets exciting because it's one of those where you make a list of the pros and cons, since I've stopped drinking, and it's, my goodness, the pros side is just, I can go on forever. So everything that I've gained since I've stopped drinking, for one is respect. I respect myself more. I love myself more. I'm starting to really appreciate the smaller things in life. As cliche as all this sounds, it's so true because just like I said earlier, you really can, I really sit and think back to how I felt sitting in jail, and I'm like, I really could have given up, but I decided not to, and I'm thankful for it. I've been blessed with better relationships, that being with friends, family, was definitely the main one, is my child, having a better relationship with his mother, with him, with her parents. It's just one of those things where, like I said, the pro side is so much longer. There actually isn't a con side. Nothing negative has come to my life since I've stopped drinking. So since then, I've been able to really connect with organizations like yourself, Wisconsin Voices for Recovery. I've been able to connect with some counseling services around here and been helping them to establish themselves in the community, help them with certain programs is what we're actually doing now, which is why I'm in a hotel. I've been able to obviously speak at events, meet some people who have been sober for 10 to 20 to 30 years, and just to hear their stories. And it's really, like I said, it ties into that next thing I kind of wanted to chat about, which is that the sense of community. It's so much greater. It's such a greater feeling being a part of this community than it was being a part of, the community that I was a part of, where we were drinking, partying, and all that stuff. This side of things, people actually care.
Yeah, and I think too, talking about that sense of community, the recovery community. I guess without diving too much into, some more of your past, and I know a lot of, people are probably interested in hearing about some stories of you and what you've gone through as that I guess that star, right? But looking at that community that you were once a part of, that not many people get to experience, the college atmosphere of, UW-Madison, going off to the NFL, that, I guess that sense of community that brings. Was there ever a time during that period of your time in those situations where you found, or how did you find that support that you needed, being on a stage like that?
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I didn't. You're talking about like during my playing days, like on the stage of playing in the NFL and stuff.
Yeah, like the time when you of course saw that there was something going on, and you needed help. Was there any sense of support there in that community, or how did that transform into, yes, this is what I need to do and take care of myself?
Right. That's an awesome question, man. It's really when I did start to realize I had an issue with drinking, with I understood that I'm heavily drinking for a reason. There's a reason why I'm choosing alcohol over, a dream that I've had since I was 8 years old. I'm like, it doesn't just happen because I like alcohol or whatever. I'm like, I'm trying to suppress something. But the way the NFL is I think a really political way to put this, but it's I felt as if I couldn't really open up to my running backs coach or the head coach because it's a business, man. It's a business. I felt as if I would have made if I would have opened up and I would have made a mistake in practice with the game, they may have been like, okay, maybe he's still drinking, and we got to get rid of him and get somebody else in here. You know what I mean? Some way I felt as if it would backfire on me, because as we all know, it's a system. They're bring the next guy in a heartbeat. So I kind of kept my mouth shut, which I wish I would have opened up sooner. But once I did realize I needed to actually reach out and do the stuff I needed to do to get onto the recovery track, that was obviously after I got out of jail. Because I talked to my mother and my father. I'm really close to both of them, and I was just like, I don't even know what happened. That's not me. That's not my character. I need some help. Must definitely need some help because I was this smiley, go lucky, happy kid in college, and just one situation that really just an egregious act just really kind of. It took me a while to forgive myself. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
So once that happened, moving forward, I really embraced therapy because I'm like, I obviously need it. Because like I said, all my insecurities just exploded on someone else, and I was like, I can't do that again. So the recovery world was something that I was new to. I didn't know who to reach out to. I didn't know where to begin. I just hopped on Google and found a place and went there and really connected well with a guy. And to this day, yeah, we still text each other and stuff because he really dug deep and understood a lot of the things that I was dealing with and battling. And a lot of it was I kind of knew that my NFL days were over and I was having some sort of self-identity crisis. It's what I knew. It's what I dreamt about. It's what I ate. It's what I breathed. So I really didn't know what my life was going to be like. So I kind of had like with depression and anxiety, of course, but some sort of like midlife crisis in a sense. And I panicked and exploded. Well,
Yeah.
I'm answering the question.
No, that's good. I think it kind of segues too into this next piece of, a main topic that you were going to talk about and that you've brought up too already. You've mentioned some of the therapies that you've gone through to help in your journey of recovery, but maybe some other, healthy ways to cope with stress, anxiety, and depression that you've been able to find possibly outside of therapy. What are some things that you now enjoy doing that contribute to your recovery?
Yeah, this is, my goodness, a lot of things. Other than obviously playing video games with my friends, reading, starting to get back to working out. It's, I started a podcast with my brother-in-law. We have a podcast. I think we're 11 episodes in now because he's in recovery. He's going on 6 years. And our podcast is on iTunes, Spotify. It's called Untapped Keg. So we really, really talk about, we always start our podcast episode out with maybe some things that may be triggering us. We share it, we talk about it, what are the things that are happening now in your life that would have, old you would have forced you to go and pick up the bottle. How are you dealing with that now? And we're just talking to each other about it. And then obviously we talk about pop culture, everything that's going on in the world right now. But that has been extremely helpful for me. We're trying to build a community there. But other than that, it's popping in and out of AA groups randomly.
Yeah.
I like to just pop in. Obviously, that hasn't been going on now. It's been virtually, of course, but been doing that. And I just make sure I do something every single day that has something to do with recovery every single day, whether it's popping in virtually into a AA group, or it's, putting together topics with my brother-in-law for the next episode of our podcast, which is tailored to sober individuals, or it's reading a book about an individual. Like right now, I'm reading The Pursuit of Happiness, about someone changing their life for the better. And that's just what I do every single day. And that's what helps me cope with any type of stressor I may be going through. Just being able to identify it and then figure out a plan for it has been very helpful for me. And that's something that I learned in therapy.
Yeah, and I know that you mentioned too, as far as another topic here of discussion, which I'm sure is something that possibly adds to your recovery and the things that you do on a daily basis. But you mentioned the obligation of helping others. I know for me, that's also something that I strive to do in my recovery. Some days it's better than others of wanting to, push myself to help others. But, since starting this journey that you're on, of course you don't have to, name anybody, but is there any time in your life or a specific person that you can think of that, put their hand out to help you when, you mentioned, of course, you jumped on your computer and you Googled sources of help, but were there people along the way, especially early on, that helped you out and kind of showed you what it's like?
Absolutely. Yeah. So to start off, when I first started, I didn't, obviously number one thing, okay, don't drink. Okay, cool. But, what am I going to do when I get the urge to, or when I, start experiencing, FOMO, which, fear of missing out. When I start to experience these things, what's the plan that you're going to have? Because this is something that you're going to always have to deal with for the rest of your life. And you got to have a plan for it. I obviously didn't know, what to do. My brother-in-law was a huge help. My father, because he's in recovery, and my brother-in-law's father is also 35 years sober from alcohol. So they really, really helped me out, obviously, with my therapist of you have to create a plan. And that's my biggest thing. You have to create a plan for when these stressors pop up, and always fall back on that plan. Okay, why am I feeling this way today? Let's think back to what happened. That's why I'm feeling this way. Okay, let's figure out a plan for when I feel this way again. What am I going to do? So it's not something that obviously I learned day one or day two or maybe even the first year of being sober. It takes time. It takes time, and you really got to trust the process. It's something that I've learned. Now, with that being said, it's now since I kind of got the hang of it, the training wheels are coming off. Going on 4 years now, I feel obligated to help others. I really do. I strongly believe, and I'm extremely passionate about, if you are sober and you are truly wanting to be sober and doing the things you need to do to not only just say I'm sober from drinking or I'm sober from using, I changed my mindset. I really feel like you have a duty to help others who have just hopped on the journey, or maybe some others who have possibly had a conversation with you about, I think I may want to stop what I'm doing. Because that's that community that I'm talking about. I would not be where I'm at if the circle around me didn't help me. So I have to do the same for somebody else. And those who are listening or going to listen to this, you have to do the same thing for somebody else. So there are individuals who I have helped and currently are helping. 3 pop up in my head immediately. We've never met. They just sent me these long, lengthy messages on Instagram, and this person's on the other side of the country, and I check in with this individual twice a week, and we put together a game plan for what he's going to do, how he's going to stop hanging out with some of the friends he has, how is he going to put together a plan for when he starts to get those stressors, and really just eliminating some of the clutter in his life. So that's also something that I've been very passionate about doing, and it's something that I wholeheartedly feel I'm obligated to do.
And I know you mentioned earlier, as far as where you're at right now,
Yes.
physically in a hotel room.
Yeah,
Did you want to talk a little bit about what that project's about and what you're doing?
Yeah, man. So this was brought to me randomly. So I do real estate, but real estate kind of started to slow down a lot, obviously, at least for me. But so I'm like, I want to do something. So long story short, this opportunity was presented to me by the county. It's I forgot the exact words for it, but it's pretty much what it is the county has paid for hotel rooms for the homeless population, 4 different sites. What I'm doing now is I'm here 24/7 here at this site. Soon going to end, of course, but I help them out with getting reconnected to their case managers, getting reconnected to AODA counselors, helping them. I've done some taxes. I've really all of the above. I've done. A lot of the individuals here do know my story. So I do have a lot of individuals chatting with me about how they want to, change their lives for the better. So it's honestly, this program has been life-changing, something I wanted to do because it's just a change in perspective, man. It really, really makes me appreciate the even smaller things in life. Some of the things that these individuals don't have, it's like I've taken for granted. And that maybe just simply walking to my vehicle and getting in my car or going to my own mailbox are some of the things that I've taken for granted. So this has kind of been like some people go to like India and do like a meditation, like a 30-day escape. This has been mine. It's very busy, but this experience is something that I'm going to talk about for the rest of my life.
No, that's truly amazing. I know before talking, before going live today, we talked a little bit about where you're at, and I was very interested to hear this. So I think that's awesome. The opportunity. It sounds like it's one, not only helping you as a person, but what you're able to do to give back to others is truly amazing. And that's, individuals hearing it, I'm sure are probably thinking the same thing I am, here you are as somebody that's in recovery and just doing, the things that you want to do to help give back, which is amazing.
Yeah, I've been here since April 1st, every single day, all nights of like 2 nights ago, I was up till 4:30 a.m. Helping an individual. It's not something I care to brag about, like I said, because it's what I wanted to do, because it's like one of those where I'm gonna tap back into this mindset or this experience, I should say, when I'm 60, when I'm 70, because you see the homeless population outside when you're driving or what have you, but being able to actually sit down and talk and hang out with them and understand how their life went about to where they are now is incredible, man. I mean, not incredible as in, it's just, there's way more to the story than just this individual didn't want to know. There's way more to it. Mental health is real.
Yeah, so I appreciate you coming on today, Montee. It's, I know that we're getting towards the end here, so I just want to allow time for anyone that's tuned in. If you want to say any quick comments or questions for Montee, now would be the time.
Seems like we got to do another one so we can get more people. I almost definitely love to join another one. I'll for sure throw in some Badger gear. But
no, we would love to have you. I don't know if there's
or something.
If there's any. Oh, go ahead, Montee.
Oh, I was just gonna say maybe a weekend or something like that. So, yeah, it's I'm extremely thankful, guys. I really, really am.
Yeah, I appreciate it. If anybody else, does anybody have any questions for Montee? I do have one kind of final closing question here for you, Montee, but I just want to open it up for the group that tuned in today first.
I just want to say thank you very much for coming on today and talking with everyone. Congratulations on everything that you're doing. Really helping a lot of people. Thank you.
No, thank you. That's awesome. Yeah, we currently have, I think it's 75 individuals in this one hotel. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing your story. It's very impactful. And, you know, what you're doing for the homeless is amazing. My son was homeless for really, from last May until February. And
Okay.
so I truly know how he had to try to navigate what, you know, the limited resources that he was provided and the barriers as being someone on extended supervision. So yeah, their stories haven't ended.
Thank you. That's a good point. That's what I mentioned when I said there's more to it. It's when you actually hang out and speak to individuals who lost their homes or what have you, you start to understand a lot more about the system, the barriers that they have to go through, the hoops that they have to jump through. Well, it's like, well, this individual can't, you know, make this appointment because they don't have a vehicle or they can't. There's just a lot to it. I do hope that you said your son, correct? I hope that he's doing well.
Well, he's in an apartment right now, but it's not exactly ideal. But it happened in February before the COVID pandemic hit. And so the warming shelter here in Appleton had to empty out at least 50% of the people. So where were they supposed to go? And my son has a diagnosis of schizophrenia, and he's medicated, but still just hearing that word, schizophrenia, frightens people. But they live among us every single day.
That's good.
Awesome. Thank you, Bev. Does anybody else have anything for Montee today? Well, Montee, I know that we have planned to be seeing you in January. Hopefully everything still pans out for Stand Up for Recovery Day. I know you're going to be there speaking. So we appreciate that commitment. And I guess one final question that I have, kind of just on a separate, lighter topic of football, because I'm excited and ready to watch some football this year. So I know that, you know, as a Badger alumni, you still hold the rushing record for career, right?
For touchdown, not for rushing touchdowns. So the quarterback from Navy.
As far as the Badger record.
Oh yes. Yes.
Yeah. So I think you still hold it at 77. Is that correct? Is that stat correct? How excited were you that Jonathan Taylor went to the NFL? Because he was on track of breaking it, I would think, if he came back.
Whoa. Okay. Ron Dane and myself are very happy. he would have broken every record. He would have destroyed them too. He remarkable, and I'm glad he left. For one, I'm glad he left because obviously the wear and tear. I was like, you know, bro, you gotta go. But also, I'm like, just go ahead and go so I can hold on to something.
No, I know that's, you know, watching you back in the day too. It's, yeah, you were a great role model as far as a young kid looking to be a football player too. So I know I hold on to that still today.
Thank you.
But I appreciate you, Montee, coming on today. I know we could talk for hours about not only recovery, but football stuff. I'm a big football man, but thank you so much, Montee. I know you've got a lot of great work scheduled here too in the future of things that you're going to be doing in life.
Yes.
And I look forward to, you know, hearing about those and seeing those opportunities come about as well. And we look forward to having you again soon.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Yeah, I'm looking forward to doing another one of these. Just reach out and we can get it scheduled.
Awesome.
Wes,
Yeah.
he made it through the whole interview with you having that Packers thing up there. He made it through.
I've got a little Badgers home.
I know, I see it. Yeah.
Yeah,
I respect the Packers. I respect the Packers. It's an awesome organization.
So, and I wanted to say something else. With you helping, that's a lot of people by yourself. If you need any help with recovery coaches, I don't know if any of us are able to volunteer time or help you out, because that's a lot of people you have and you're one person. So I don't know if it could be set up for all of our groups to be asked if anyone wants to help you, if you need the help. Otherwise, if you have it under control, fine.
I'll reach out to you. Okay?
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
All right. Thank you, Montee. You have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, guys.